On this episode of Sloan's Wilderness Expeditions, we take on our first ever backpacking trip into the Smokies, hiking the Little River Trail out of Elkmont, all the way up to backcountry campsite number 30, with stunning river views, small waterfalls, and lots of solitude. Hey fellow expeditionists, we're in the Great Smoky Mountains and we're going backpacking.
We're going up the Little River Trail and we're gonna see a ghost town.
In the early 1900s, before the Smokies were protected, logging was big business, and the Little River Lumber Company built rail lines alongside Little River from the Elkmont encampment all the way to Clingman's Dome. It was this railroad spur that would eventually become the Little River Trail. From the trailhead, it is a 6.8-mile hike all the way up to our destination, backcountry campsite number 30. However, it is an easy hike with only 412 feet of elevation gain, but also includes several stream crossings. Well folks, we're back in the Smokies, and believe it or not, as many times as we've been down here, which is probably approaching a dozen times now on adventures in the Smokies, we've never explored the Elkmont area. So we decided we're going to do just that. Alright, another trail junction. Notice here, at least 2 out of the 3 campsites in this area are closed due to aggressive bear activity. Now, campsite 30 that we're heading to is not closed, but it did have a warning of bear activity. We had looked into camping at either backcountry campsites 21 or 24, but both are currently closed due to aggressive bear activity. Campsite 30 is only 2 miles beyond Campsite 24 and was still open for reservations, with a stern warning about potential bear activity in the area. That actually helped our decision making, as we were hoping for some wildlife viewing, yes, including bears. Alright, what do we got here? Looks like campsite 30, 1.8 miles. So after campsite number 24, which is currently closed due to aggressive bear activity, the trail very much narrows, becomes a lot more sketchy. Not a whole lot of people get out to this end of the trail. Well, we had to take us a little break. We probably hiked a good 5 miles already. I probably got another mile to go to get to campsite 30. We are deep in the woods.
Yep.
Not a soul have we seen since about 4.2 miles at the last trail junction. And that's the last time we've seen anybody at all. This section out here, it gets a little bit redundant, according to Catfish anyway. It's a little redundant, but and it's a little buggy, mostly just the gnats. The gnats love to fly in your ice for some reason. I don't know. But I mean, the solitude. There is nobody out here, and you can tell this trail rarely gets used.
Yeah.
It don't matter now, just go with it. And just like that, we have arrived at campsite 30. Well, there are nobody else up here at campsite 30 yet. So we have our choice of campsites to take. So of course we're going to take the one that has most privacy, but also has great views of the creek. Well, Catfish, here we are, deep in the backcountry of the Smoky Mountains. What's the one form of wildlife that you did not expect to have an issue with?
Honeybees.
Honeybees. They said, be worried about bears, be worried about snakes. They didn't warn us about all the frickin' bees that want to touch anything that is ours. It doesn't matter what you sit down. Shoes, a camera, a hat, backpacks, you name it. In my face right now as I'm trying to do a video.
Yep.
Bees. As the water boils, how's come the bees don't go to that, huh?
I have no idea why.
Interesting. Well, bees are just hanging out with us. They're not trying to sting us or anything. They land on us, they crawl on us a little bit.
Yeah.
I've even flicked them away. I haven't gotten stung. They mean no harm, but I don't know what they really mean. And the thing is, it isn't just the campground. When we took our break earlier, probably a mile down the trail or so, it was surrounded by bees then too, weren't we?
Yeah, we were.
Yeah. Oh well. This is what we are camped beside. And this is one of 3 streams that converge here in this area. Not half bad. Well, folks, it's almost 9 p.m. and we have had a full couple of days. Pretty wore out, huh, Catfish?
Yeah, we are.
Yep. But man, what a great couple of days it's been. We get to go to sleep in this forest. Well, good morning, fellow expeditionists. We had a great night camped out here at backcountry site 30 here in the Smokies in the Elkmont region. And the bees kept us company the whole time, never once stung us, so kudos. But still not sure how I'm going to get my hat back. Sorry, fellas. It's time to say goodbye. They're on the inside, the outside. All right. I don't think I'm going to be putting it on for a little while, though. We won't bore you with the same scenery hiking back out, but there were some sketchy areas around the creeks that we learned better ways to get around. Alright, so 2/3 of our hike back to the trailhead from Campsite 30 is still on the Little River Trail. But at this point, I think we're going to cut off and take the Cucumber Gap Trail the rest of the way back. That way, it's a little something new for us too. We chose to take the Cucumber Gap Trail just to have some different scenery. What we didn't think about at the time is this short trail has nearly 700-foot elevation gain within the first mile, more than we had on the entire Little River Trail. Alright, so we came back across Cucumber Gap, came down Jake's Creek Trail, so now we're walking through the ruins of the old Elkmont Appalachian Club. Was it Appalachian Club? Yeah. There's just so many ruins everywhere you look of all the old buildings, historical stuff. But so far, the park hasn't fully protected. In fact, for a long time, they just wanted to get rid of them. But then they were put on the National Historic Register. The Elkmont Ghost Town, as some call it, is located literally right behind the Elkmont Campground, with the main Millionaire's Row between the Little River Trailhead and Jake's Creek Trailhead. This was once home to two private social clubs, the Appalachian Club and the Wonderland Club, two vacation communities in the early 1900s that evolved into a spot for wealthy families to get away from the summer heat. When the Smoky Mountains National Park was created, residents could sell their property to the park or choose a lifetime lease. But the park stopped renewing leases in 1992. At this point, the national park intended to demolish all buildings and allow the area to return to nature. However, many of the buildings were put on the National Register of Historic Places in 1994 as the Elkmont Historic District. Many buildings fell into disrepair, so the park finally started a restoration project on 19 of the historic buildings, while the more dangerous ones were dismantled. While Millionaire's Row, also known as Daisy Town, is the focus of these restorations, it is very much worth exploring the forest around the area to see the many remains of old fireplaces and long-gone homesteads. So I'm actually pretty happy with what the National Park is doing in their restoration efforts. Now that I've been here to see what they're up to, it really looks like they are doing their best to make it right out here. So there's all kinds of ruins that surrounds the main Millionaire's Row there at Elkmont. It's about for everything that's being restored. There's probably another 5 or 10 things out in the woods that have already fallen into disrepair. Catfish is getting some good pictures of some wild turkeys out here in the Smokies. They apparently really like the ruins area of Old Elkmont. Well, fellow expeditionists, that pretty much does it for our little backpacking adventure out the Little River Trail, as well as our adventure in the old Appalachian Club Elkmont Ghost Town. It's a pretty cool place. Gotta say though, I'm a little disappointed they had all these bear activity warnings around here.
But ultimately, it was aggressive bee activity.
Yeah, what he said. Cool adventure. Great little historical lessons to be had here. Just great nature. Catfish, any thoughts?
I thought, like, the hiking along of the trail kind of, like, seemed the same, but there was also lots of cool scenery throughout the way. Lots of vegetation, lots of creek flow, and I thought the ghost town at the end was pretty interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And Smoky Mountain streams just can't be beat. All the giant boulders in them and all the rushing water is just amazing. Great time camping out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Till next time, folks. Peace out.